Most travelers have no idea that TSA has changed several carry on rules for 2026. And some passengers are finding out the hard way at the security checkpoint. Items that were perfectly fine last year could now lead to delays, extra screening, or being forced to throw them away. Before you pack for your next trip, there are a few important changes you need to know.
With all the new TSA carry-on changes for 2026, the last thing anyone wants is a travel problem turning into a medical or financial emergency while away from home. That's why many travelers, especially seniors, are starting to use Safety Wing travel insurance before they fly. If you have traveled in the past few years, you already know that getting through airport security can feel like navigating a maze blindfolded. But heading into 2026, the Transportation Security Administration has rolled out a fresh set of carry-on rules that are catching travelers completely off guard. People are showing up to airports with bags they have packed 100 times before, only to be stopped at the checkpoint, forced to repack, check their luggage at the last minute, or worse, surrender items they did not even know were now restricted. The frustration is real. The lines are getting longer, and the confusion is spreading fast. Whether you are a frequent flyer or someone who only boards a plane once or twice a year, these changes affect you directly. Understanding what is new, what has been updated, and what the Transportation Security Administration is now enforcing more strictly than ever before could be the difference between breezing through security and missing your flight entirely. So before you zip up that carry-on and head to the airport, let us walk through everything you need to know about the new carry-on rules for 2026. One of the biggest shifts happening at airport checkpoints in 2026 is the full enforcement of the Real ID Act. This federal law has been in the works for years, delayed multiple times, but it is now being enforced without exception. What this means for you is straightforward, but critical. If your state-issued driver's license or identification card does not carry the Real ID star marking, typically found in the upper right corner of the card, you will not be allowed to pass through the security checkpoint using that document alone. The Transportation Security Administration will require you to present an alternative acceptable form of identification, such as a United States passport, a passport card, a military identification card, or a Department of Homeland Security Trusted Traveler card like Global Entry or TSA PreCheck. Many travelers are still unaware that their current identification does not meet the new standard. If you are unsure whether your identification qualifies, check for that gold or black star on your card. If it is not there, visit your state's Department of Motor Vehicles before your next trip. The lines at those offices have been growing as more people realize they need to upgrade, so the sooner you handle this, the better. The 311 liquid rule has been around for years, but in 2026, the Transportation Security Administration is enforcing it with far less leniency than travelers may be used to. The rule still stands as it always has. Liquids, gels, aerosols, creams, and pastes must be in containers of 3.4 ounces, or 100 milliliters or less. All of those containers must fit into a single clear, quart-sized zip-top bag, and each traveler is allowed only one such bag. What has changed is how strictly officers are screening these items and how little wiggle room is being given at the checkpoint. In previous years, a slightly oversized container might have slipped through, or an officer might have allowed a small exception. That grace period is largely over. Additionally, the Transportation Security Administration has clarified its stance on certain items that travelers frequently misclassify. Peanut butter, for example, is classified as a gel and must follow the liquid rule. Yogurt, hummus, salsa, and similar spreadable foods fall under the same category. Travelers are also being reminded that duty-free liquids purchased internationally must be in tamper-evident bags, with receipts showing purchase at the airport, to be allowed through connecting security checkpoints in the United States. Most travelers worry about getting stopped at TSA. But the bigger risk is what happens after something goes wrong during your trip. Lost luggage, delayed medications, missed connections, unexpected hospital visits. Travel disruptions are becoming more common every year, and for seniors especially, even a small issue can quickly become stressful and extremely expensive. That's why I recommend Safety Wing travel insurance before every trip. Safety Wing helps cover unexpected medical emergencies, travel interruptions, emergency care abroad, and other major travel issues that regular health insurance often doesn't fully handle once you leave home. And here's the important part. Most people don't think about travel insurance until after they need it. By then, it's too late. For a relatively small cost, you can protect your health, your trip, your luggage, and your peace of mind, especially when navigating new TSA rules and increasingly unpredictable air travel in 2026. Before your next flight, click the link below and see if Safety Wing makes sense for your trip. One unexpected issue could cost thousands, or you can be prepared ahead of time. Electronics have always required extra attention at security, but the rules surrounding them in 2026 have become more detailed and more strictly enforced. Laptops and large electronics must still be removed from your bag and placed in a separate bin for screening. This applies to tablets, e-readers larger than a standard paperback book, and portable gaming devices. What is newer and increasingly important is the Transportation Security Administration's updated guidance on lithium batteries. Spare lithium batteries, meaning batteries that are not installed in a device, are not allowed in checked baggage at all and must travel in your carry-on. However, there are now clearer watt-hour limits being enforced. Batteries up to 100 watt-hours are generally permitted. Batteries between 100 and 160 watt-hours require airline approval. Anything above 160 watt-hours is prohibited on passenger aircraft entirely. Power banks fall under the lithium battery category and must be in your carry-on, not your checked bag. Smart luggage with non-removable lithium batteries is also being flagged more frequently, and many airlines are refusing to accept such bags as checked luggage. If your suitcase has a built-in battery, make sure it is removable before you arrive at the airport. Food is one of the most misunderstood categories when it comes to carry-on rules, and in 2026, it is also one of the most commonly flagged. Solid foods are generally allowed through security, but anything with a liquid, gel, or spreadable consistency falls under the liquid rule. This means that a jar of jam, a container of soup, a bottle of maple syrup, or even a tub of frosting must comply with the 3.4-ounce limit or be packed in your checked bag. Frozen foods are allowed if they are completely solid when you reach the checkpoint. If they have started to thaw and there is any liquid present, they will be subject to the liquid rule. Ice packs used to keep food cold must also be completely frozen. Gel ice packs that are partially melted will not be allowed through. Fresh fruits and vegetables are generally fine for domestic travel. But for international travel, strict agricultural rules apply and many items will be confiscated at customs. Travelers flying with baby formula, breast milk, or juice for young children are still permitted to bring quantities exceeding the standard limit. But these items must be declared and may be subject to additional screening. Every year, millions of items are confiscated at Transportation Security Administration checkpoints, and many of those travelers are genuinely shocked. In 2026, officers are paying particular attention to a handful of items that keep appearing in carry-on bags. Firearms and ammunition are never allowed in carry-on bags under any circumstances. Sharp objects, including knives with blades longer than 4 inches, box cutters, and razor blades outside of cartridge razors are prohibited. Sporting goods like baseball bats, golf clubs, and hockey sticks must be checked. Tools longer than 7 inches are not allowed in the cabin. What surprises most people is that certain everyday items also make the prohibited list. Gel shoe inserts, snow globes regardless of size, and realistic replica weapons, including toy guns, are all flagged regularly. Self-defense sprays, including pepper spray, are not allowed in carry-on bags, though one container of up to 4 fluid ounces, with no more than 2% by mass of tear gas, is permitted in checked baggage. Knowing what cannot go in your carry-on before you pack is the single most effective way to avoid delays at the checkpoint. The best thing you can do heading into 2026 is treat every trip to the airport as a fresh opportunity to get it right. Start by checking the Transportation Security Administration's official website before every flight, because rules can and do change. Pack your liquids bag the night before and keep it at the top of your carry-on for easy access. Place your electronics in an easily reachable spot so you can pull them out quickly at the checkpoint. Wear shoes that are easy to slip on and off, and minimize the amount of metal you wear to avoid setting off the detector. If you travel frequently, enrolling in TSA PreCheck or Global Entry is one of the smartest investments you can make. PreCheck members enjoy expedited screening, do not need to remove shoes or laptops, and move through dedicated lanes that are significantly faster. Global entry adds the benefit of expedited customs clearance when returning from international travel. Arriving at the airport with enough time, staying calm, and knowing the rules before you arrive will make your experience smoother for you and everyone around you. The rules exist to keep every passenger safe, and understanding them is the first step to making travel feel effortless again.